Get ready, cause it's about time for you to speak your mind.
we need to get on the headphones.
Girls Club, Girls Club, Super Secret Girls Club.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm not sure who's here yet. We haven't seen anybody on chat, but welcome on Wednesday. This has been an interesting day. What?
I wonder if the time change affected the time in other states differently. Because I think Arizona doesn't change time at all.
Okay.
And maybe California doesn't either. So
What's
this
up?
might be a different time that we're starting on. Because the time changed in Indiana for the last time, but it did.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. I don't think that's fully confirmed yet.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it.
But yeah, welcome. So there are people in the chat. Welcome, Eliza Bell. What is it? Cycle Impulse. QPL. Welcome, guys.
My Polish brother. Welcome everyone. Let us know that you're in the chat. By the way, if you are watching on YouTube and you are in that chat, I can see you. Yes. We are watching the Twitch chat. So
Exactly.
Twitch platforms, if you want to talk to us, if you want us to read your responses, we appreciate it.
I will answer your questions.
Also,
because we do.
while you're on Twitch, we have an announcement. We are going to start doing Chainsaw Man reactions live every Tuesday at 1 p.m. They are going to be subscription only, but the finale episode is going to be live for everyone.
Yes.
So if you want to experience everything with us, please subscribe to our Twitch, or you can just wait until the finale.
Yes.
Just join us there.
1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Time. So, Indiana time.
Yeah, so with that being out of the way,
Yes.
there are obviously other streams, but let's talk about today's stream. We are going to start a new sub-series within Super Secret Girls Club.
Yes. Which is going to become a main series, I
Yes.
guess. It is its own thing.
This being the first episode.
Yes.
And it's going to be all about our jobs. So it's going to be about, being an influencer as an occupation. We were going to talk about, in future episodes, we're going to talk about so many other things like financials,
back end of YouTube.
Yes. Owning a business, like the basic things of that part of our job that you can get to see on camera. Our equipment, we're going to talk about how we organize our time, so there's going to be a lot of useful information for anybody who wants to get started on something like this.
Fingers crossed.
Today we're going to talk about what it's like to be an influencer. And before we get started, because this is going to be a really weird conversation, I think.
Why? Why do you
because
think that?
I was like you, I was writing these questions and I was like, I never asked myself this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wonder what I'm going to answer. And then you were also the same way, right?
Yeah, same. Like, I read her questions. Like, we prepped for a podcast and I'm reading it. I was like, okay, I guess it applies to me. I never thought of it. So this is going to be an insightful conversation. And I'm curious. I'm hoping that you guys get something out of it as well.
Yes.
But yeah, influencer word itself for me is very weird. I think it started popping up on social media a while back. Like, it's been around for a minute now. Like, people have been making money as being an influencer, which is a job that no parents would have ever imagined their kids to be doing. None of us would think that we would be doing, but it's here as a word. And yeah, I feel weird about it. Just in general. But
The word itself?
The word itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you meet somebody new or when you talk to your family about your job, what words do you use?
I don't use the word influencer.
Okay.
I have never used the word influencer. I always tell them, like, hey, I'm a financial officer, or I essentially, like, if I'm meeting somebody or I'm at a date and if they ask me what I do, I'm always like, I'm a financial officer at a YouTube channel. But I also am picky. If I say somebody YouTube channel, I will say I'm a financial officer at entertainment company. And then when they ask like what it is, like it's essentially a YouTube channel. We create the content and we go from there. There was one time, there's a couple of people when I was explaining to them, they were like, "Oh, so you're an influencer?" I was like, "Yeah, I guess." I was like, "Yeah." I've never said it myself. People have said it to me, and the first time somebody said it, I was like, "Oh, I am."
Right.
Weird.
I know.
I was like, okay, sure. I guess that's a one way to put it, but it just puts you in a box that I'm not sure if I'm okay to be in that box. But that's just me personally.
But why?
Because there's so much goes with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I, being on the other end, may have judged people like, oh, they're influencers, they're making money out of putting pictures. No, there's so much that goes with it that I have never thought of until being it. So it makes me, if I say something I'm influencer, putting it in that box, it's like not really. Like me personally, I'm not on screen that often. I guess I am, but in different sense. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that? I know we have a lot of people in like Elijah Bell, social media video editor.
Yes, I love that. I think Elijah Bell is. Are you part of the back to the topic? Is this who we're talking to?
Eli? I'm not sure. Tell us if that's true.
But me personally, I also don't use the word influencer. And just like writing these questions down, I was like, but we are influencers. Like, why is this word so dirty to me?
Yeah.
Like, why do I feel that I don't want to be referred to as an influencer? But I think it might be because, for me personally, I think maybe often I feel like I don't really have influence.
Yeah, I think that.
Yeah. Like
what that signifies.
Yeah, it might be a little bit like an imposter syndrome, because I truly do not feel like a person that influences much. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's, you know what's funny that you say that, and because we may not think it that way, and I've never thought of it that way, but I know internally as normies, you have had influence just with like your values and your core values and everything. Even it might be small, but there is. So I guess it depends on what we believe what influence is. Influencer is just over inclusive.
Yeah, because I think that's the other part of the problem for me, where I don't want to be put in a bundle with like people I really don't like. You know what I mean? Like fucking what's his name? Andrew Tate.
Gotcha.
Or you know, like these assholes that are very clearly influencers, and their influence, in my opinion, is very bad on society in general. So I just kind of like don't want to be put in a pile with you all Kardashians. That's a perfect example. Like I don't want to be in the same group.
No, I think that's fair, because that does put you in that box, right?
Yeah.
Like it puts you in that box, and you just like then you roped into this. Like if somebody says influencer, and then a whole lineup shows up, and all of them there, it was like, but that's not what, like everybody's doing something different.
Yeah.
Do you ever think that there needs to be more clarification on the word of influencer, just not saying like somebody's influencer, but there is more to it, right? Like somebody might be a photographer. So why don't we use the word photographer? Why are we using the word influencer? Like me just saying somebody is like, hey, I'm a financial officer on YouTube. I guess it's being on the camera part.
Yeah.
I think that's what includes it, but I don't know. I just find it weird. That's just me.
Let's talk about Psycho Impulse had a good question. Outside of reacting to series, can you tell what your roles are off camera?
Yeah.
So you mentioned.
So I manage financials for the company. Manage financials, every cent that goes in and out. Last night I was closing the books for October, spent way too much time on it than I should have. Beside that, I recently became full-time on a part of being a business officer, where I'm trying to just take the process that is, try to make sure there's efficiency, like we're doing what we need to do as a normies efficiently, and then maybe build more revenue through other revenue streams. But that's the role I'm trying to do. But we just need to make the normies efficient, make sure everything is on schedule. So hoping that there's more consistency on our product that we get out, so that we are doing, and then we also doing what we love, which is creating sketches. Yeah. But we need funding for that. So somehow doing that as well. Yeah.
My role is the operations officer, but and I've basically been just doing operations by myself. And now that Navi's here as a business officer, she helps me make sure that my, whatever I've been doing up to this point can be kind of like polished and made easier for me and for everybody else. So I feel like I became like a project manager over time.
Yeah.
With no background knowledge of what that entails.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of learning for me because I came from educational background. So I studied to be a teacher. I have a master's degree in education, and I ended up just doing this. And it was just kind of like, what am I doing?
The funny part is when like she's giving presentation to the normies, and then she would be like,
oh my God,
we have this data. What does this show? And then we're all just sitting there and looking at her. We're like,
listen,
Kenny, stop being a teacher. Just tell
engaged.
Us the answer.
I need to know that you're paying attention.
But we're not in a class. You're presenting information.
Raise your hand.
But every time we're just in a class, we're just looking around like, are we supposed to answer this question?
Hey, I can't help it, okay?
It's so funny. And then the Chris will be like, stop being a teacher. I was like, yes. But her teaching moment comes in, which is good for us because we don't, it makes sense why she does it because a lot of us are not really all engaged all the time. So you have to like, we always have to present information in different ways. Like,
listen,
how can we grab your
You're
attention?
the one who came with the whole quiz for us. Okay.
That's the only way to get these people to like pay attention because they will ask me the same question. Like, no, we're going to quiz on it. Yes. I'd make them take a quiz when I was showing them financial stuff. I was like, none of you guys understand what I mean. Here, we're going to learn it today. And it was fun. I think I had fun. I didn't have to take the quiz.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I do. I'm do the operations. So I do scheduling. I make sure that, videos come out on time, that you guys, if you are on Patreon, you get all the premium access that you can get.
Yeah.
And just kind of like try to make sure that everybody is informed about every decision that gets done. Which is often very difficult.
Communication is a big deal.
Yeah.
I think that's the one thing about working with a big team is how you can perfect communication. And can we perfect communication? I don't know. I would love to. I would love for us to have a perfect communication system where you just telepathically everybody understands when the things have been changed.
Yes.
Love it.
Before we have telepathy, it's just something it's going to be like a continuous process.
Work.
Yes.
We will get there.
So we talked about our roles. Let's talk about, and our relationship to the word influencer. What do you love about your job?
I think the one thing I do love about it that even though we have a schedule, we have flexibility enough that we are able to control it and able to adapt it when things change. And just there's pros and cons of working with friends. I think there is a pro of that and also there's a con of it, but I do enjoy that. And I have a business background. So for me, this is essentially a business for me. So for me to have the ability to shape it and actually work as much as I can work on it because I'm also a workaholic. I do enjoy that. Yeah, I don't mind it, but yeah. I like having say in it. I like saying something that it means something because there is democracy. We have democracy, thank God. So it works. It works for us. What about you?
What I love about this job, I definitely enjoy the flexibility, like you mentioned. And I really like, just like you said, the fact that, if I personally want something to happen, because I'm in a position where, I am a part owner and I'm like in the leadership role, that I have more power to make that change happen.
Yeah.
And that feels good because, if I, for example, silly thing like recycling, like we're recycling, which is good because in the other place we did not recycle because, the place we were renting and that whole complex just didn't do recycling and it was just killing me inside.
And
so
there's not much you can do to change that either.
And I tried.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good that, if there's like a change that needs to happen, I'm in a position where instead of just trying to figure out like who I need to talk to make this change happen. I'm the person who needs to make the change happen.
No, for sure.
Yeah, so that's good. It's kind of like it feels easier. It's more work, but it feels easier because it's attainable. You know what I mean? I don't have to rely on other people to do something.
That's true. And it took us a while to get here. I mean, we've been doing this for 7 years. I felt like in the beginning we were more so like people with their heads cut off running around just keeping up with things, and I think now we can just kind of put the head back, just have a bunch of hats on it, and it's like, okay, I guess that's a task. Now we just need to figure it out.
Yeah. Shout out to Mamma Mia for the first time on Twitch, watching on YouTube and Twitch simultaneously. We appreciate the double views.
Thank you. And for people who are watching on YouTube, we are reading the Twitch chat only. So if you're watching YouTube and you have questions for us, unfortunately we won't be able to see it. You can continue watching on there, but if you want to talk to us, come on over to Twitch. Psycho Impulse had a really good question. Do you guys consider yourself to be in the realm of a celebrity? I don't think so. It's always odd to me when somebody like will recognize me walking, which doesn't happen that often, but it does happen once in a while, that it just always catches me off guard. I just never know what to say, and then it's like have a conversation or get to know them, and it's like, oh, thank you so much, and it just always catches me off guard. It's like, oh yeah, I guess there was a one time this really young girl got super excited when she saw me, and I was like, calm down, we only watch TV. Like it's okay. Like we're just people. Yeah. Like I'm weirding out that you know me, so don't worry, we're on the same plane here.
Yeah.
But what about you?
I feel the same way. I definitely have like a huge imposter syndrome. Every time I meet someone and they recognize me, I was like,
I'm just pretending to be who I am. It's like it's like I don't. It's a job that we do, but like at the same time, it just it's interesting.
I don't consider myself a celebrity at all.
No. But
I don't know if I want to be. I'm in a really weird zone. Well, I guess my background is weird because before I met the Normies, I wasn't even watching TV at all.
But really?
I was just not. I was very.
So what do you do in your off time?
I wasn't anti-TV, but I was just find better things to do.
What was the better things?
I would be. I don't know. I would be on. Yeah, I would go outside, and if I'm inside, then I would do something on my computer, work on my little projects or something. You know what I mean?
Sense. Makes sense.
I wouldn't. I would organize my photos, or I would just do things other than just watch TV. That's funny. I think the only thing that the only show that really excited me and kind of created the fandom spirit in me was Game of Thrones. Yeah. Before then, I just didn't understand. There were movies that I really liked, but I wouldn't buy a shirt with the movie on it or something. You know, I didn't get that part of everything at all. But after Game of Thrones, I was like, yes. And I just bought so much Game of Thrones shit before I joined the Normies.
I'll take all my money. That's interesting.
In my house, back in Czech, I have decorations that are Game of Thrones still.
That you will never had before.
Covered in dust now, but you know.
That's interesting. I guess that makes sense because I think for Surge it was Lost. So everybody has one show where you have the fandom that you're following. That's very interesting. I mean, before that was all about anime. So would you now, if you organizing your pictures and everything, would you play TV in the background? Because I would even if I don't watch TV, I'm doing other stuff, I will play it in the background to watch it. But I guess before you were just focusing on one item.
I would just listen to TV. I would listen to news or something.
Gotcha. Okay. Of course you will. I mean, why I'm surprised.
Stay informed. Or listen to podcasts or something. But I just didn't fiction wasn't as appealing to me.
Fair enough.
As just listening to the news or podcasts about real life stuff. It's weird. That's why I feel like such an imposter because I just
watching all fiction now. Everything is fiction. You're super hardcore anime girl. I remember she had never seen anime and it's now she watched anime and all the show completely changed. But the Normies completely changed you.
It did.
But that's a whole new personality.
That's the thing where I know that there's so many people who are super fans and they wish they could have a job like this. Where I'm this happened to me. Yeah. I had no really influence on this.
Yeah, no, fair
You
enough.
know, I was like still trying to be a teacher when I moved here. Then I realized that wasn't gonna happen, and I just like worked in like I worked a lot of odd jobs, and
Yeah.
then Normies was like starting to pick up, and I was just like, well, I can do this, I guess.
Yeah.
Can I?
I think-
And they were like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think that's how both of us, like, it worked more so because we had more operation background or help in that. That's when I was like, okay, I have other job. Ketty, you do this. And she's like, yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, that's funny. I don't know if I never thought of imposter syndrome as a thing. Until I read the questions, like, okay, I can see that. But I'm just, I don't know how I feel about it. We'll go. Well, psycho impulse. I feel like an interview now. What do you think the first hurdle every influencer has to overcome when starting out? Is that part of your question as well?
I don't. Yes, there's like, yes, it is. But we can talk about it now.
Okay.
The first hurdle, every influencer, I think it's manage your expectations for me.
Fair.
Because
What do you mean? What was your expectations?
I didn't have any expectations.
Yeah,
I was just like, what is going on?
Like, people are watching us. Yeah, at first I was like, I don't know. I don't think it's a thing. But then
Yeah.
it's like things like, okay, cool.
But if intentionally, if you choose to take this path and you wanna like get it to the next level where
Yeah.
it's making you money and you are relying on this to just be your life source,
Yeah.
then be patient, because it's not gonna happen immediately.
No,
and
for
just
sure.
be consistent, and don't expect much, because I don't want people to have their feelings hurt, because it's hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And there's a lot of work involved.
Yes.
And I think that's where one of the first hurdle is, like, just thinking that it will happen right away and not
Yes.
realizing that, yeah, like Eli said, being a content creator is fun until you're editing at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
There might be days or nights where you pulling overnighter. I know Surge, Mickey, like Chris, they all have pulled overnighters edits. Especially when we were doing Game of Thrones, and that's the only thing we were doing. So they were editing right after we'd done watching it at
Yeah.
11 p.m.
Yes.
So there's a lot of work involved.
And it's soul crushing if you put so much work into something and then it gets like 200 views.
Yeah.
But this is something that you need to count that will happen. And you just gotta keep consistent, because if consistency and your authenticity will find its audience in time.
Yeah.
But it's just hard to like get on, for me at least, because if I do something, I expect results.
Like right away.
And I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
I did this well. Let's turn it around.
No,
and
makes sense.
And sometimes it just doesn't happen. And
Yeah.
that can be like crushing.
In that sense, then you have to just know that this is something you have to do consistently for a minute. Like, you have to do this for like not only days, probably weeks and months before you can fully say, I've done everything the best I could, and then know when to just either pivot or do something else. Like, know how long you're gonna let an experiment, use it as experiment. That's what I will think. Like, see it as a small experiment, run it, and do it consistently and gather as much data as you can. If it's not working, then pivot to something else, that small thing that did work. But it does take time. I think that's one of the biggest obstacle. The other thing I think is, like, if it starts picking up, even if it doesn't pick up, I think people don't realize how much management goes behind it. Especially if more than one person is involved. If it's just one person, then it's just you managing yourself. But if it's multiple people, then you need to know everybody needs to get someplace at a certain time. Everybody needs to make sure like things get done in a specific way for the product to come out at the right time. And I think we kind of lucked out that us being with that many people, having a pros and cons, that everybody had some strength that was able to build into it. Obviously, we have too many cooks in the kitchen, but I think we have managed to work that out now after 7 years. But it did help to have multiple people who can manage some things in the back end, and other people can be creative in the front end and editing in the middle.
Yes.
But yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely.
So we talked about some of the challenges. We talked about what we love about our jobs. What is one thing or a few things that you like absolutely hate about your job every time it happens, or something that's just very frustrating?
I actually had one when I was like talking about the good things. I don't know. Do you have one? I do have few.
I think that being like a social media influencer comes with its own set of challenges that unless you are in the field, you don't get or you don't understand.
So what you mean, like comments?
For example,
like...
having like parasocial relationships with
yeah.
people. Because that is a lot to navigate, and I'm not saying I hate it. I'm just saying sometimes that can be really overwhelming because some people feel like they're entitled to your time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Fair enough.
And that's like harmful to, you know, everybody. Like influencers, if they like really care about their audience and they want to be there for everyone, they can't because they're one person, and then they maybe have thousands, 10,000, hundreds of thousands of people that some of them may expect their constant digital availability,
attention,
and it's just that's unsustainable, and it leads to burnout. A lot of influencers are very open about like their need to take mental health days.
So what would your tips be in that situation?
I would say establish those boundaries early on.
Fair enough.
Because if I think eventually everybody will learn this if they start, but it's better to know before you get started to just establish be friendly, but establish healthy boundaries early on. There's like obviously there's like multiple people that over time we became really good friends with, and we met them in person, and we still
friends with them.
We're friends. We talk regularly on Discord, etc. We visit each other. We went to one of our mods' wedding. Like there's relationships that can flourish that are genuine and real, and then there are relationships that are more one-sided.
And you just kind of have to be careful not to hurt anybody's feeling or...
Yes, but you also have to protect yourself.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because, I'm gonna take everybody's best intention here and assume that everybody wants to just, make sure everybody's happy.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just can't make everybody happy, and that's also okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. I think one of the things for me is like QPL mentioned really well. It's like, not being able to watch a show on my own whenever I want. I think one thing, at least for me, is different from everybody else. When I came full time, I came with the expectation of that I won't be on that many reactions compared to like other back end stuff that we needed to work on. So I can always just, if there's something that I really want to watch, I will watch it. And then just sit out on that reaction. That's why I'm not on that many anime reactions. I watch all the anime. It's just I have that contractual boundary set for myself. But there are some times that with the movies it will come and I was like, can I go watch it in theater? Like, I'm gonna go watch it in theater. There's some movies that I will go watch in theaters, and I think we just need to set those rules. Like Doctor Strange, I'm definitely gonna go watch it in theaters when it comes out. Like, I don't care. I will rewatch it with the couch.
Yeah.
But those are kind of conversations that we kind of regularly have within ourselves as well. Like, what can we watch? What can't we? Because something we expect to get a lot of views, but we have to wait until it starts streaming. So it's going to be some time. So it's just a boundary that, like, is it okay for some people to go watch it, not the other people? And I think this might be a conversation we may need to have is, can everybody have like one thing they will go watch and they will get exception on? Like, you cannot watch Tom Cruise movie. We're gonna put it in your contract. Like, that's fine. We will let Kelly not sit on Tom Cruise. We're like, I gotta go watch this when it comes in theater. So those are kind of conversations I think we need to set boundaries within ourselves. You've had those conversations. We haven't set rules around it.
And I think spoilers are a whole
different
another thing, which is related to, if you watch something, if you have to wait for something to be on streaming, on demand, or if you have to wait until everybody's available to watch something, then for example, like especially heavy hitters like AOT will always get into like, okay, nobody look anywhere. Do not turn on any of your social medias. Do not go to Google search. Don't do anything. Just go into your cave and stay there until we're all ready to record.
Yeah, then you get in the habit of going on social media, you see something else, like, pass. Just, like, immediately skip. And I think that's the way we have learned to do spoilers. I don't have any searches. I know Surge has some searches set on his Google to not show.
Yeah, block words.
Block words. I need to do that as well. I think we need to do that with all our laptops. But I think we've been really good at avoiding spoilers. But if we get spoiled, then we let everybody know, like, hey, there's been something that's been spoiled for me. I won't say what it is, but it's coming. Because I know a lot of people got spoiled a lot of shit on Naruto. Me and Rana weren't. Like, Mickey got spoiled on something, Chris got spoiled on something, Surge, which makes no sense to me. Like, how, like, I don't think you guys are on the social media as often as we are, but I guess they're on, like, Imgur, like, all that kind of websites. It's like, just avoid them.
Yeah. So, my next question is, do you have any role models in our industry?
For me, I think I'm one of those people who don't watch YouTube as often. But I think one of my role models is gonna be Philly D. I really enjoy his consistency and, like, he's going through shit, but he always there and there to create content, which kind of helps us kind of put our efforts into places. Like, we gotta keep going. Like, when the shit's a bad day, for him, he's a one person. I know he has a huge team in the back, but he's always going to be the face. Even if he himself's feeling horrible, he's the one who have to give the news, not anybody else. And for respect for him when he has to take time off. There's time when he's like, I just can't do it. And totally understandable. I feel horrible because, like, he's my main news that I get. Like, him compared to other people when he's not online. I'm like, I don't have any news of the world. But I think he will be my role model, and just I know there's a lot of other people on Instagram that I follow who are same thing, like, they're always producing content and just keeping up with the content and keeping the content that grab your attention. But I can't name names. Like, I don't know the names, but probably will come back to it. But I will say Philly D for sure. I love Philly D. I talk about him all the time.
I watch Philly D religiously. Like, it's my dinner ritual. Like, I make dinner and then I go sit down and watch Philly D.
That's my nighttime, like, brushing routine, like, nighttime routine. Like, it used to be my gym routine. So if I didn't have Philly D that day, I was like, I can't go to gym. Like, there's nothing for me to watch. But yeah, there's like he's built into routines. Like, you gotta watch it. Yeah. But do you have other role models?
I'm trying to think, because I didn't think about this before.
You wrote the question.
I know. So we talked about, I think 2 podcasts ago, we talked about Amarath.
Yeah.
And the whole thing. I think that after I saw the Vice video with her, she definitely became, like, a role model to me.
Same,
like, I had no idea she's doing all this, like, other shit, and also, like, how she feels about the things she's doing on Twitch. It was very insightful, because, you know, we often, like, discount these people, like, doing, like, people doing social work as, like, just whatever we want to think of them. But then when you actually, like, take time to listen to what they have to say about it, what their opinions are, and, like, why, reasons behind doing making certain decisions. And that was very insightful to me to watch that video. And I learned a lot. So for a while, she was definitely, like,
your role model.
Not a role model, but she helped me, like, change my mind about some things.
Fair enough.
I do watch a lot of, like, I don't really have a role model in, like, the reaction sphere, because I don't really watch reaction videos. But I usually watch just, like, I would watch Some More News with Cody. Who knows? He knows.
Yeah. So what would you consider a role model? Is it somebody that you just, like, who teaches you something about life? Or somebody that you're just like, I want to be like this person?
Well, I just had a great example. Her name is Chad. I love her channel. I watch her video. Every time there's a new video, I was like, everybody, drop everything. We have to watch Chad.
How often does she post? And what's the content?
It's like once a week, I think. Okay. But her videos are hilarious, and she's basically just, like, sitting in her room. and just talking shit about something weird that's going on, like a weird
In
trend
life?
on TikTok,
Oh,
or
gotcha.
something on like, you know, social media that's like kind of weird. And she's just kind of talking about it, and she has these like jokes that she's just very like low budget shticks on
Gotcha.
like just green screen, and she's just like, it's so funny to me.
Fair
you know what I
enough.
mean?
I have
Because
to
it's
check
so
this
low
out.
budget, and
Yeah.
the humor is so stupid.
That's funny.
And I just like love it so much. And I love that through her videos you can see who she is as a person. Like her values show through the videos.
Fair enough.
Her like opinions
So you know it's
show through
her.
yes.
It's her who's
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I love that.
And it like almost feels like you could be friends with this person.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So I really like her. I like her style. I love how she presents herself on camera.
Yeah.
I love the jokes and how she delivers jokes.
Fair enough.
So yeah, I'm definitely trying to like learn something from her.
Good. Okay. I have to check this person out for sure.
Chat.
Chat. It's like CHAT. Chat.
Her series is called Twinge of Cringe.
Twinge of cringe. Oh my god. Oh, there's another one that I watched called Joshua Weissman. He's a cook. I've been watching him for a while, and I was watching when he was actually cooking and also doing a job. And I remember him putting out a video where he like quit his job to do a full time. He's absolutely hilarious because he will like make tough things like very cheap and easy, and he will just tell you straight up like, wash your rice. What the fuck are you doing? You're not washing your rice. And like small things like that. He was like you can make.
Is
you
it
can,
Uncle Roger?
No, Joshua Weissman. Yeah, and it's hilarious because some things he's like, oh yeah, you can buy a store-bought tortilla, but why would you when we can make it at home? And he would be like, here's the recipe, I'll make it, and it would be like cheaper too, but it doesn't work. And it's just hilarious. And he was like, oh yeah, you can put this, but like, we're gonna make it ourselves. It's like, okay, cool. Like, I love him and his dedication too. It's
Nice.
great.
Since I mentioned him, Uncle Roger is
Uncle
a
Roger.
great YouTube channel.
Nice.
Where it's just like this. I don't know what kind of Asian, but it's
I
Asian,
see his clips here
and
and there.
it's just like Uncle Roger, and he's just kind of like reacting to other people's cooking videos.
Oh
and
my
just
God.
breaking them down. It's like, it's so funny. I think he might be Korean.
He might, maybe.
Yeah.
That's funny. I've seen him. He's hilarious.
Yes.
I love that kind of content. It's like something different, something new. But yeah.
Yeah, I love when like people have their own twist on something very regular, and I think that is also a good advice for anybody who's trying to start. Like, have your own little
Twist on things.
twist, like something different. Do what people do, the thing that you enjoy watching,
Yeah.
but add your own flavor to it.
So people come back for you.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a really good because like I do watch few cooking channels, like Joshua Weissman, Pro Home Cook, and Cooking with Babish. But I always go back to Joshua Weissman because he makes funny jokes. And it's just like the way he does it, and he calls himself Papa, and it's like Papa. Papa. And then it's just like I go back to it because like Pro Home Cook and Cooking with Babish, I just sometimes find it like NPR. I was like, okay, the monotone, I forgot what you did 5 steps ago.
I love NPR.
But I mean, there's time and place for it. But Joshua Weissman, like, yeah, he does his own different style, and he's just cooking, right? Like everybody's cooking, but he does it different for sure.
Nice.
Psycho Impulse has been having a great question, but let's see what you have.
What is the next one?
He has, do you gals have influencer personas that are slightly different from your in real life likeness? What do you think of people who have separate online identity?
I wish I had started as somebody else.
What do you mean?
So I never thought this would be like my life.
Yeah.
And I use my like official name.
Yeah.
For example, I wish
You came up with your own name?
people refer to me under a different name now.
Start now.
I can't. It's too late.
What do you mean?
Like, I
Like,
would
do you
have
want to have like a Ketty persona? Like have your own?
I mean, Kitty is Marquetta. It's
Okay. Yeah.
But like, yeah, if I could do it all over again,
Yeah.
I would have created like a separate Instagram, and then I would have my own personal Instagram just for my friends. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
But now I have to mush together my, me promoting myself and posting things for that specific reason. And then also like, my friends are on there, my family's on there. So then I have to like also cater to that. And then I'm just like, I don't want, like I have to have like limits and boundaries of what I post.
Yeah.
Because this is me. thing. This is like my little identity.
Fair enough.
And I wish I had a different virtual identity that I could hide behind.
I never thought of it that way, but it makes total sense because like there are some pictures that I would like to post, you know, like promoting something specific, but I can't because I have to think about all the cousins, all the family. Like my mom follows me on there, and now it's like, but thinking about it, like I think it's something that we can still create. It's just gonna be a lot of work to like bring the
I just
people
feel
on
like
there.
For me, it's too late now. I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah,
it's already out there. It's fine.
Fair enough. That's fair, but I might look into it. We'll see how that goes. But that's a really good tip as well. So if this is something that you're creating, just think about it to create a different persona that you may want to keep it separate.
Yeah.
Than the combining it together. But I don't have a different persona in around other people. Like if people come visit us for NormieCon, they will see us who we are. And you may see us like, you know, when shit doesn't go as we plan, like with the catering. You will see us being frustrated and also coming, like, yelling at each other, not you guys, but at each other, and then coming at a solution that everybody agrees on. That's just our process. So you will see that happen, and then, I will.
Yeah.
I think that's how it is. Would have liked to have a separate online identity. I don't think there's anything wrong with it as long as your separate online identity is not racist.
Yes.
Or
Well,
harmful.
I would say, like, even if I did have, like, my own, like, an
alternate,
social profiles.
Yeah.
I don't think I would like change who I am as a person there. I would just post different things with different like end goal.
With different audience in mind.
Yes.
No, I totally get it. And yeah, no, it makes sense. Like it will still be me. Like you'll still see me pictures. It won't be just me like hiding under anonymous identity, trolling people on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like commenting and stuff.
Yeah.
But I like trolls. Depends on where they are.
I also don't think there's anything wrong. Like if you are really good at it and if you can manage having like these different personalities.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with like presenting yourself in a different way and just having this other side of your personality shine through whatever you decide to do.
Yeah.
And then also on the others, like in your private life, be a different person. I think that's totally fine. I don't think that's like deceitful or anything. But I would say that's like the next level being an influencer status. And I think that most people should. I think it's easier if you're just being your authentic self.
Yeah.
It's less to manage.
That's true.
It's less to. You're just like.
That's true.
Don't even have to think about it.
They have to keep up with everything, and
Yeah.
No.
So I don't want to like shun on people who do that. I think it's perfectly fine. But I think it's easier if you're just yourself.
It works for us, so whatever works for you, go with that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, let me move on to the next question.
Yes. Tell us what the next question is. This is fun.
What are some of the risks of this occupation, and which one keeps you up at night the most?
Oof. I think the risk of this is I don't have anything to fall back on if this doesn't go well. I think also the other reason why I became full-time as a business officer is knowing that our revenue is in one basket. We want to make sure we diversify and all that stuff. So that keeps me up at night, just knowing that we have this potential. We just don't have that much of a time to able to diversify ourselves because anything could happen. Just on YouTube. That's why we're trying to be more on Twitch as well. Just to create a safety net for us, considering there's so many of us. We have a whole team that we support. I want to be able to keep supporting our employees, people who actually make this happen. So that's the main thing that keeps me up at night as a financial officer and business officer. Like every time I see numbers, I go to sleep, like looking at numbers. I just want to make sure the numbers look good. And I mean, we're not dying, but it could be better just so that we are able to know, like, if one thing stops, there's another thing that'll be able to support us. And I think that's going to be a risk for a lot of people who are starting in this business. Like, you are going to be focusing just on one thing because you only have that much time to focus on that one thing. And that's not bad, but eventually you look into diversifying your platforms, your content.
And I think a lot of, like starting influencers have this idea in their heads they're gonna be like Philly D.
Yeah.
Which there's nothing wrong with ambition.
Yeah.
But I think that there's like a large like 95 maybe percent of influencers that are just like going by, like they maybe make enough to just focus on this one thing singularly, and that will allow them to actually grow it. But there's a lot of people who have to have another job. Like, for example, I think Pilar mentioned she's serving while doing a whole reaction channel. She's only able to post like twice maybe a week, she said. We had her on a podcast here for House of the Dragon. If you guys want to browse through our gallery, you can definitely watch that. It was fun.
She's in love with Matt Damon. It was a great conversation. Check it out.
But what was I talking about?
No, I think having a multiple jobs for sure. I think a lot of us started off this as being a Sunday thing. And then it became like Sunday and like Tuesday thing. But we all had full-time jobs for a minute. Suraj was the first one to go full-time with barely anything. But it was needed. But you may have to do this as a side hustle while having a full-time job. And I think the one thing that a lot of people forget might be an obstacle is that, this may happen like overnight, become a millionaire, or maybe like in a week or two, but you will need that motivation to keep on going. Because if you don't have the motivation or love or passion for it to keep doing this after hours, like after putting your 8 hour at work or maybe more, and then you don't have time to do it like after, or motivation to do it, you may have some days where you don't, but eventually you do need to have that to continue doing that. That's the only way for the consistency and all that stuff.
Eli is mentioning stalkers and cancellation being one of his fears. I definitely get both. Those are valid concerns. We definitely took measures to make sure that like our address, for example, is a non-public record. Which also another thing that we found out later. So if you are creating LLC, hot tip, you will have to put your principal address on there, and that address is visible everywhere. If you don't want to do that, hire a registered agent, and that is, you have to pay a little bit. It's not a lot. It just depends on where you are in life. It may not need it for you in the beginning when you don't have that many people following you, but if you are paranoid, just heads up that that's something, it's a public record. Ours has been changed, so good luck, haha. But that's something that we learned as a small YouTube channel coming up, so something that we are trying to definitely make sure that you are safe on the internet. It's very easy for your data to be stolen and used for nefarious intents. I keep losing track of thoughts.
There was a last question you asked. You had an answer to that one.
The fears. Oh, yes. This is what I wanted to say. I think that a lot of creators are at the whim of their platform. And I think that's very unfair dynamic.
That's true.
And I wish that platforms did more to service or listen to the creators that are on it, because any platform is absolutely nothing without the people posting stuff on there.
For sure.
So I think that's like a very uneven dynamic, and I hope that in due time we will have influence unions that will change this.
Hopefully. But it's just such a...
And like algorithms change all the time, and they change behind the scenes. Like a lot of the time, influencers or creators are not informed on what's changed and how they can, compete fairly. And that is something that keeps me up at night personally, because I don't think that is a good way to go about things, and there's very little, like I was talking earlier about, like, I feel very good because I have the power to change things. There is definitely powers that I don't have, and I wish that I had.
Fair enough.
And that being definitely one of them. And that's
is it just YouTube, or do you also believe that with Patreon as well?
I feel like we have slightly more leverage with Patreon, just because we've been clients with Patreon for a really long time, and they are definitely much more personal because their pool of clients is way lower versus
compared to YouTube.
The amount of creators on YouTube, the amount of videos, minutes that get uploaded every minute is insane.
That makes sense.
So I obviously understand they can't manage everything properly.
But they should
But
do
if
better
they-
job disseminating the information
Exactly.
before it changes.
Like if you make a change in the algorithm, like educate people, let them
Yeah.
know that, hey, this is coming up.
Yeah.
Like do that before it happens, first of all. If you even do it after that, like people need time to change their processes,
Yeah.
to prepare, to adjust everything they do. Like you can't just like dump things on them. And a lot of time they don't even say anything, and the creators just kind of figure it out
From
with
other
research.
creators.
Yes, and
Yeah.
that's just odd. to
That's
me.
surprising
It's
to
very
me.
odd.
Yeah, like if you know the change is being made, because obviously when they're making that change, they go through testing. They do system testing, user testing
Yeah.
before it's put out. So while you're putting it out, just send out communication like, hey, on this date you may find this. For whatever
Yeah.
reason. You don't have to give a reason. Just say what the change is so everybody can be prepared. Yeah, I never thought of it that way.
I'm gonna give an example of what I'm talking about with reactions to Mob Psycho. So the first seasons of Mob Psycho that we did were doing so well in views. They are in like the upper 100s,
Yeah.
or they're like very close to it.
Yeah.
First 2 seasons, which is 50 episodes, right? And now we started season 3, which is a premiere. That means people are looking it up. That means
be
it's
more up, yeah.
trending, and
Yeah.
like these reactions right now that we're doing that are premieres
Yeah.
and that have solidified themselves as being popular are not doing well at all. And
Is the show not doing well?
no, the
yeah,
show is
did-
doing great.
Oh,
So I think what's
interesting.
happening is that YouTube again made some changes. Perhaps the word psycho is not favorable to the algorithm. But that's
suppressing the views.
so yeah, and this is just a speculation, but again, that's all we can go of is speculations when we do this. And
Yeah.
basically that means our entire livelihood is based off of speculation. Or it's based off of instinct, and that's not very assuring to me.
Yeah,
you know?
because then we have to take the speculation, test it, and see if
Yeah.
it is true or not. If it's not, then again we are speculating more, and then to figure out what is causing that. Yeah, no, for sure. If they were giving out more information, then we won't be spending this much time on speculations either and testing it out.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing to go about it. Like a lot of times, like changing the algorithm on YouTube, you just figuring it out. Like, maybe this works, maybe this doesn't work. Eventually we'll come to it. But yeah. Psycho Impulse asked another question. Thank you so much for asking all these questions. These have been really good. As influencer, how much are you working in a single day?
It depends.
It depends. I will still consider it work. I know we're like, working. Like
There are days for me where I'm just on camera
Yeah.
for 8 hours, and these are my least favorite days.
Do you work after those 8 hours?
No.
No. Okay.
No, I can't. Literally, my brain is fried
Fair enough.
after. And I know that there are some people on the team that watch so much more TV than me, and they do this they like have multiple days where they're on camera constantly. I don't envy them. I don't know how they do it. I can't. It's just not my. I prefer and every time, because I have so many other responsibilities like behind the scenes. I always when I spend too much time on camera, I feel like I'm running severely behind on some important things.
Yeah.
And I just then I feel like oh my God, I have to work at home or something. Sometimes I do. I'm trying not to, because I've definitely burned myself out before. So I'm really trying to be very strict with my boundaries now, in terms of where my time goes when I'm not here. But sometimes I just have the urge to just do something because it has to be done.
Makes sense. And it gives you more time, free flexibility the next day.
Yes.
Yeah.
But 8 hours on TV or just watching something is not my favorite.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in the end, the last thing that we're watching is always just suffering from my just attention deficit, or just the amount of information I had to consume.
Yeah.
And discussing it, and I'm just oh my God. My brain is dead. I'm pretty sure you guys can tell when that
nobody's
one
paying
video
attention.
that is the last video of a long day. You can tell, especially for me, because I'm just this
Done.
was good.
That's funny. Yeah, so for people, it's we started off with one show, but eventually more show was added that we were doing after work. But now that everybody from the Normies are full time, even before I became full time, we were doing 9 to 5. or 8 to 5 days. So it's been like a standard weekday 8 to 5 job. So we do 8 hours, sometimes 8 hours a day. It's filming, depending on where it is, like what's coming out when. If it premieres, 1 or 2 days might be all day filming. The other 2 days might be like half a day filming or anything. And yeah, it takes a bit. Like even for me, I'm not doing that many shows, but I haven't like figured out my rhythm or my balance of which days I'm filming and I cannot do any work. In my head, it was like, oh yeah, I'm filming for 4 days. I can definitely work afterwards. It just doesn't work like that. And like if I can't sit down, like if I'm being pulled away for other things, there's just no way I can do all my stuff on my computer. And there's like so much stuff that needs to be done. And I have been putting hours after work. I don't mind it. I'm a workaholic. Like for me, like I know where my limit is on that burning out, and when that happens, then I will just like completely take a break. But then I'd rather like, for me, I hate when I put it for the next day and then something else, because I know in my head something is gonna happen. If I put something else for tomorrow, something's gonna happen that's always gonna get pushed it, and then there's gonna be one day it's just a hell of work to do it. So I'd rather do it now, like do it today, do it now, get it out of the way. And there's been some things that when I procrastinate, and when I procrastinate hard. So then I will like procrastinate to the day points like I need to work on Sunday for this to happen. Just so that I'm can be flexible rest of the week or take an hour here and there to either go a longer walk. And then like I think Nico's been helping me a lot like with the walks. But yeah, like if there's a week that I know I'm gonna have to work on Sunday, that's fine. I'm gonna take the time off during the week to just for myself. Like take another like just go run errands and all that stuff. But yeah. How big of a Normies team is right now? So we have about 13 full-timers on the team, that including all of us as well. And then we have about 2 part-timers, 2 to 3 part-timers, which includes
we have 14 full-timers.
14 full-timers and 2 to 3 part-timers. When we say part-timers, like Mikey, who is on our music video reactions that come out on Saturday, Nikki, who is on like Mirzapur and Exception. So we will consider them part-timers. Spidey, Dameron. So those are our part-timers, and we have other freelance editors. They edit very specific, like we have person for movie editing who does only movies, and when she's not available, then we have another backup freelancer who will do other movies, but it's just freelancing part. Most everybody started as freelancer. And I think
a volunteer.
Actually, everybody started as a volunteer, and then
unpaid interns all the way.
For a very long time, nobody was getting paid, and I think Surge was the first one. The only reason because he's the one who started it,
and he didn't have any other job.
Yeah, and then he really quit to actually be like he had another job, but then he actually quit to be a full timer here, and we were able to like. Whatever Patreon was making 2 hours to send to him, which was barely anything. But eventually, slowly, people became freelancer, getting paid on edit. And then slowly they all, like most of us became salaried because we are technically working more than 40 hours a week.
Yeah. So
it was hard to keep up paying everybody per edit, per reaction, which is how we started.
Or hourly.
So, and keeping track of hours, because our hours is not really flexible. We can make it more rigid now, but they were very flexible depending on who was available when. So how do we keep track of it? We did try different softwares to track the hours. It just doesn't work until we came up with the solution. But yeah, it's the team has grown, so which is why it creates more risk when we are putting all our eggs in one basket, which is keeping me awake. But it's because of all your support, everybody's support and work that has been helped us get here.
For sure.
Yeah, and now we are just at mercy of YouTube algorithm to figure us out like what works, what doesn't work, and then us to make sure we are putting out content that gets us views. That's also what you want to see. Like running that fine balance. It's been an interesting journey so far. Yeah,
definitely. We are almost at the end of the podcast, but we have one more question to answer before that happens. And I want this one to be the last one.
Okay. Go for it.
What kind of influencer would you aspire to be outside of the Normies brand?
Do you have one?
Super secret girls club.
No.
Okay.
No, I do.
Okay,
I
was gonna say, like, it just came with such a confidence. It's like, I want this to be in the end.
I think, so I would love to have been like a travel vlogger.
Okay.
I think that would have been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
There's one channel called Trek Trendy. We watch with Chris every Sunday, and he just goes on these fancy train rides. Gets fuck ton of views just because it's so fancy. You know what I mean?
God.
So I don't know if he actually makes enough money to like, you know, actually be able to afford it. I think he has just deals going on with like different travel agencies.
And then he putting his own time and
yeah, I think he was also born in money, so I don't really think he that's a concern for him. But
fair enough.
But yeah, I mean that is like my dream. Like I love trains, I love traveling, and he's just kind of like living this like my ideal life. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So I would love to have been a travel vlogger, or to have like a couple channel with Chris. We're actually trying to like see if we can start our own podcast at home.
And work with that, yeah.
I literally created a logo, but that's all we have right now. But yeah, we're definitely trying to like see if the two of us can also have like our own
separate thing.
thing.
No, for sure. I had never thought of it being an influencer. So we are here. I would just say, like, outside of this, I would like to. I think traveling is amazing. We'll love to do a lot of that as well. I've been learning that I actually love taking pictures, which is a new thing to me. So like I've been using that as an opportunity for Instagram. So I would have loved to be more in that space. And the other thing I'm learning, like from Euphoria, I love like new trends. So like for me, I think I'm learning more so as well. Like, Katie, you never watched TV before, didn't watch a lot of it. Now you watch a lot of it, and then that you coming into a fandom. I think something similar as well. I never thought of myself as an influencer. Now that I'm learning what that is, I'm also trying to create my own persona, what that looks like. So I don't know. I'm gonna try to create a persona now and see what that is, and we'll go from there. But would like to be more of an activist if I could.
Yes.
But that takes time. I think I'll try to do as much as I can from my end, but
yeah,
if possible, that would be great to do that.
Yeah, I like, speaking of activism, I definitely want to like, because I feel like I've learned a lot in the last 5 years living in the US, and just kind of like going through a huge culture shock when it comes to environmental protection. And I just don't think this country is doing enough, personally. I feel like I grew up, literally, I'm 32, and I grew up recycling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you bring in the different culture and knowledge here.
And I know it was mentioned earlier in the chat that recycling is just not considered beneficial anymore.
Plastic,
and I think that's a little bit of a misinformation. I know that's what the report said, but specifically for plastic, and what I personally do is just try to avoid plastic all the way, because I know you can't recycle them.
Yeah.
Still, though, you can recycle glass, you can recycle aluminum, you can recycle paper. These are the materials that I focus on every time I shop.
Yeah.
Because I know they can get put back into circulation. Plastic can't. It's pointless to try to recycle plastic.
Yeah.
Still, though, I think in my country, we used to recycle just like the caps of plastic bottles separately from plastic bottles.
Yeah.
And I know they were making sleeping bags out of the bottle plastic.
But it's still like so much work.
It is. But like I know that there was like, it was still a closed loop for a little bit. I don't know. I don't think it was sustainable, so I don't think they're doing that anymore. But yeah, I mean, the best thing you can do is avoid plastic. And I would love to like talk about it for hours. I have so many things to say, and I have so many tips, like different like products that I like would endorse without even sponsorship.
Yeah,
it's like they come in paper. You just have no plastic in the house. It's perfect.
We need to get sponsorships or like work with all these brands, especially that we want to. But all right.
Well, the channel the
channel just got crazy.
Dick butt.
All right. Well, we are coming into a podcast anyway, so it's perfect timing. We are probably gonna look into rating somebody. Chris is in the back end. If you can look for somebody to rate for us, that would be greatly appreciated. But guys, this have been an interesting conversation. So moving forward, we are gonna be trying to do some mini series like these. Like Ketty said in the beginning, really try to give more light to what we do in the back end, what we have learned, because obviously there is not a book or class on YouTube, or Twitch or streaming or all of it, and no way that we are perfect at this or experts at this, but we would love to share what we have learned. Also, like, learn from all of you as well, because I mean, Psycho Impulse, you had great questions. So anybody who have a question like that, will definitely answer, only looking at a Twitch. But meanwhile, please stick around for the raid and join us tomorrow. We'll be doing One Piece. Love One Piece. Absolutely love One Piece. And we're doing streaming every week, and there's always something going on.
I have a list of topics that we want to cover in this mini series. I'm probably gonna just put them in a poll on the podcast channel,
On
in
Discord?
the community, or in Discord. We'll see. I'll do all.
Hey,
So
perfect.
yeah, you can definitely influence what we're gonna talk about next. So
We also have polls, right?
yes.
Are there other polls that they can influence us on what we can
yes.
watch, or what we can say, what we can do?
So many polls on Patreon, guys.
Yes.
Right now, you can influence so many things.
So many things,
and
because
I
so many shows are ending.
know you're interested in that.
Tell us.
So only patrons can vote on the poll. It costs only $2 at the lowest tier to join. If you just want to cast your vote,
Even for just for 1
if
month.
you want to try more, I'm not gonna deny that. We get so much stuff going on there. So yeah, check it out.
Yeah.
And we're on to the raid.
Yes. Check out the polls. Tell us what we watch next. Bye.
Get ready, cause it's about time for you to speak your mind. Super secret girls club. Super secret girls club. Super secret girls club.